2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yo, what's up, jazz guitar friends? Larry Tambanini here with Jazz Guitar Under 5 Minutes. Might go over a little bit today. Caught me in the gig simulator playing through Giant Steps. Giant Steps is just one of those ultimate benchmark tunes for any jazz improviser, and presents a really unique array of challenges for a guitar player to cover a lot of keys in a very quick time. So a couple quick things about this song that we're going to talk about before we even start really playing it. Number one, some prereqs you need to have is, can you play a B major arpeggio? Do you know all the notes in this B major? Do you know the same for this E flat? Do you know the same for G, right? Or B, G, E flat, whichever way you want to go in. So let's just say like, okay, like... just to be able to know, like, yes, my third of B is a D sharp and my fifth of G is a D. Like, these are all important things because the way the song moves, to be able to have really great knowledge of all the chords and key centers is imperative. Okay, so I was such a huge fan of this song, I probably started playing this before I had any business trying to play this song. So much so that I sought out Dennis Sandoli to try to teach me this song, and I was really hoping that he was going to tell me the secret was to go to Lorenzo, go to 34th and Oxford and Strawberry Mansion to the Coltrane House. Play Cousin Mary 2 times, and then you'll get it. I really wanted it to be more of a combination of like Crossroads for jazz guitar and maybe Legend of Zelda, but sadly there is no shortcut to learning this song. You really just have to know the tune, really understand how it moves. So let's just kind of get started on these, on just the 3 chords, really. And that's going to be the 3 chords that we're spelling out are B, right? And then E flat. I did it 2 times there. You're going to say, LT, why'd you do it 2 times? Larry, 2 times. I'm going to go play it twice. Play it twice. I did it twice because you're going to have to cover that ground, right? The way this song moves, even with the melody, you sort of bounce back and forth from a couple of octaves. You just want to be able to not be thinking in a box. Because if you're trying to like think in patterns on the song, and when I say patterns, you know, there are finger patterns and ideas that you can use on this song that can be helpful. But really, the patterns are just going to be the way the thirds moves into the fifths, into the way the sevenths, and how it all kind of like works together, okay? So just being able to do that, and like maybe what I want to try to do is just get the arpeggios, or at least just the major triad of it, you know, going. You know, something that's really cool about this song is if you play it like B, G, E flat, I'm going to play like B, E flat, F sharp, and then there's that G, or half step up, right? Same thing with that E flat, and then B. So you can kind of do some cool stuff with that, you know, right? Kind of neat. Right? And then just all the different kind of things that, you know, all the different notes that would be contained in that. So once I get that going and I get that idea happening, now I know that like once I do that, I'm going to be playing a tonic dominant. And that dominant chord is going to give me a chance to play some jazz, but it's also going to give me the direction that I need to go in for my new key center, right? And then you have a long 2-5 there. And then we pick up that same exact pattern here, and it goes to B. We have a long 2-5 to the E flat, right? And then a long 2-5 to the G. And we have another long 2-5 to B. And then, you know, you're wrapping it up in E, but then you have that right back there. So the last chorus I played on my improv was just, you know, 1, 2, 3, 5, right? So that's about half the song just doing that. So there are no tricks in this song, and in a lot of ways, you know, there's not a whole lot you can really play on this song other than, you know, this 1, 2, 3, 5 idea at some point. In some ways, it's a lot harder to play over rhythm changes in those really rigid, you know, harmonies to play like a real creative solo. Here, you just really have to spell it out every single time. And, you know, you can really run into some unique ideas and find some cool ways to spell some stuff out. And the way the chords move is really cool. But again, that's what we're trying to do. So the backing track I started out with here in the gig simulator was pretty fast, and it's listed as Giant Steps slow. But like I found this one online that's a little better, you know. Right? And you know, you kind of have a little bit of time in those last two bars, right? And you have it. Play the licks, right? So just the idea of playing this song slow is really, you know, where you want to go. The biggest mistake anybody can make with this song or any song is to play it fast. And obviously, we all go to the Train version where he plays it slow. Pat Metheny does a great version where he does it like sort of like a bossa, kind of like this. How can I make this song easier? Well, check it out. You know, once you get the idea of playing, the idea of just kind of like playing B, D, G, you know, if I wanted to make this longer, right? I'm just kind of playing that, right? Now, what's this sound like? Sounds like I'm playing Have You Met Miss Jones, right? And this is obviously what Train had talked about, like the bridge of that song and how he modeled it after this. So, okay, so that's cool. What would be the next chord I could throw? You know, what would go between that B and that A minor? Well, there's a lot of things that you could do. And this is the fun part of playing jazz. What if I said this? You know, just back cycling in there. So I went B, E, and then the next step would be, what if I did this? Well, now that sounds like pretty hip, right? I'm going from this B major 9. That sounds like something I can use on any song, right? You know, just like we can speed anything up, you can take fast stuff and slow it down and find some really, really hip ideas. All right, so these are again some ideas that we're going to use when we're playing this song. 1, 2, 3, 5. Nothing new, right? But the idea of playing 1, 2, 3, 5 in not just like one position and like doing it one time. Like, it really takes a lot of reps. Buttload, if you will, of reps. But what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to break it down in a slower, more manageable, construct here. I'm not going to keep doing the whole chords, the whole tune. I'm going to take those first 2.5 bars and try to go like B to G to E flat. And I'm going to try that somewhere else. I'm going to try to get that somewhere else too. Whoops. Kind of ended up there. Where else could I end up? I could play off this B, right? And I could pick this up in a different way where I might try to do something like, and then where would I want to go here? Well, I could go backwards, right? All right, that's kind of cool too. And that's just giving me some more ideas that I can kind of put in there. And again, this is a song where you never really max out on. The more you play, the cooler ideas that you're going to come up with. And again, this is a song that, like, it doesn't come up a lot, but when it does come up, you want to be ready for it. And it just reminds me of one of my favorite jazz jokes. Two old friends run into each other, after a long time of not seeing one another. And it's just like, oh man, how you doing? I haven't heard anything about you. What's going on? And the guy's just like, oh, well, I ran into Herbie Hancock and we had a great conversation, and Herbie brought me in the studio and I'm going on tour. And the guy's like, I didn't hear that. Congratulations. He's like, oh, what else is new? And he's just like, oh, I got married and we're having a baby. And he's like, oh, congratulations. I didn't hear that. That's great. And he's just like, well, what music are you working on? He's just like, well, he's like, Herbie's working on a reharm and giant steps, but I'm working on giant steps myself because I went to a jam session like last year and somebody called it and I sounded like shit. And the guy's like, oh yeah, I heard about that. Usually need a band there, but Hirsch is asleep, but it's okay. All right, jazz guitar friends, Giant Steps, a tune that you're going to work on as long as you want to work on it. And that's the fun part about playing jazz guitars. You never really get done. There's always more stuff to do, always more levels to get to. And that's the fun part of the challenge. So this tune is one of those real challenges though. But thanks again for checking out this video. If you made it this far, I really appreciate it. Thank you for all the support. Don't forget to hit that like, share, and subscribe button if you haven't already. I try to put up new content every week, whether it's a lesson like this or a tune from the gig simulator or a tune from a gig. Keep swinging. Bebop.